So in this tutorial we're going to cover off the stats element of buzzbox. There's two ways of doing this. You can see stats through a standard reporting tool which gives you big long lists of data which you can then export into Excel if you want, or you can provide search criteria and be very flexible with that to see who's been making calls at what times, etc, etc, the total volume of calls, the amount of time spent on the phone, so on and so forth. And then there's another option that gives us a little bit more of a visual cue on what's been happening, so it's a little bit more pretty. All this sort of stuff you could do in Excel, but there is a graphing tool built into buzzbox that shows you a visual representation of all the calls that have gone in and out of the system, so that's quite easy to just sort of print off and show to your managers to show them what's been going on. So we're going to go to our buzzbox dashboard as usual. I'll show you the first section here, which is the charts and graphs. So this is the icon here, the historical charts and graphs. This is the kind of the pretty version. So if we click on this, it will give us some nice charts that shows us exactly what's been happening on the system. So the first section here, as you can see, the most recent calls, when these were placed, so on and so forth, and who was being called. We're only on the fourth day of August, so the stats here are a little bit limited, but and today's a Sunday, so we've only got 2 days of stats here, but we can see here the daily number of minutes. We can see the weekly number of minutes that have been used here. There's another nice chart. If we scroll on down, top sources is the top number of callers, so 60001 is the extension that's been making the most number of calls. Top destinations, these are the phone numbers that have been called most commonly. Caller IDs, these are the numbers often that have been coming into the system most frequently. And the duration of the calls, so we've got a list here of calls that have been variable in duration, so the longest ones go to the top. So that's the overview. Monthly report, if we click on this icon here, we can see how many calls have been made during the period of August. Again, we can change the months up here by clicking on the days, the calendar and the months here. Calls per day, shows a nice chart, how many minutes have been used per day on average since the first day of the month. Time of day breakdown, this is quite useful, so we can see when people are on the phone quite often. The busiest times here just after lunch, 2 p.m, 3 p.m, and of course 10 a.m. in the morning. The first thing in the morning is often the fairly busy period. And the caller detail, this is the more advanced level of stats here, so we can see exactly what's been happening. We can also see the disposition here, so that's whether or not the call was or wasn't answered. There's a yearly report, so once you've built up a lot of data here, you can see over the period of a year what exactly has been going on. Again, you can change the years by using the options at the top here, but calls per month are listed here. We can see July and August statistics, minutes per month again, total number of minutes, and again the time of day breakdown again throughout the entire year. So it shows you exactly the volume of calls, mostly on average at certain periods of time during the day. Number report, this allows us to examine individual phone extensions. So I'm going to type in my main extension here, 6001, click on analyze number, and then it gives you a breakdown of basically what's been happening in this most recent period of time. So we can see how many calls have been made, the recent calls that have been made by that person, and we can go into details of basically who that person has been calling. And finally there's the advanced search, where you can specify a date range, where you can specify a caller ID or a source. So the source can be 6001, that's the number that the call originated from, so my extension. We can set a date range, so we can say, okay, 1st of August to today, the 4th of August. Click search, and again it shows us all the data for each number for each call in question and who they were calling. So that's basically it really. It's a pretty straightforward stats system, but it's very nice and very straightforward for you to be able to just produce a quick chart to show to your managers or to just see what activity has been going on. The other part of the system is a little bit more in depth. It's a little bit more flexible in terms of search, which is call statistics and call history, this one here. So if we click on that option, we can again do a search based on a month period. We can see who's been, so source again, who's been making the calls. So if I typed in 6001, that would list only calls from my extension. So if I just say call date for now, you can fill in all of these if you like, and it will do a search on all of these combined. So if I just click on search there as an example, it shows you very, very straightforward statistics. I mean, it's just a big long list of numbers in this format. There is an option here as well if the calls are being recorded on the system or had been recorded in or outbound. There'd be a little speaker icon here so you can actually listen to that conversation accordingly. Also, what's also quite useful here is if you click on the call graph tick box just at the top here, it gives you a quick summary of the calls for that particular day. So if we scroll down now, we should see there's a little chart at the bottom here that shows you basically average statistics for the day. So that's the total amount of time that's spent on the phone, and that's this percentage is a percentage of the largest amount of time that was spent on the phone in a day. So the largest amount of time was spent 79 minutes and 17 seconds. So 54 is 29% of that figure. So the same applies to the number of calls as well. So versus the biggest or most popular day, which was this day, there was 39 calls on that particular day, and then on that day there was 21 calls. So that's 26% of 39, if that makes sense. And the average call time is listed here as well, so we can see the average amount of time that person's been spending on the phone. So for a quick and easy statistical analysis, that is absolutely perfect. So if we scroll back up again, and again you've got all the figures here as well. If you don't want those to appear on the screen, if it's a bit clumsy, you just de-tick that option, just click search, and then we just get the charts then. As we can see, we can just print those off. And likewise, if you select the CSV option, this allows you to download the file based on this criteria as an Excel spreadsheet. So we click on search, and then it will allow us to download this file. So we click on save, and that just saves it to our desktop or where have you. So if we click on that now, it should open up in Excel. Yeah, we've got all the data in there, and we can basically do our own reporting based on our Excel templates if we've got them created. And that just about sums up the statistic reporting. I mean, you can spend hours on this. I won't go into any more depth, but really it's a case of sitting down and playing with it. And once you've got a report that you like the feel of and you've got the criteria defined, then you can just run that report at any moment in time and put the data into Excel and process it offline as you see fit. And that just about covers it.